as far as what you see moving forward for the future. Obviously, everyone's talking about Terence Crawford. Is that a legitimate chance of happening, or do you guys feel like you're miles and miles apart?
I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about, seeing my kids tomorrow and chilling on my ranch and finally riding my horses after 10, 12 weeks and, just chilling out and eating some good food. So we'll see what holds in the future. But right now, it's to enjoy myself. I had a long year and a half, to come back and, work hard, train hard, and just was 120% focused. And I'm going to wind down for like a week or two till I get back on the ball.
I know you already talked about getting back to the ranch, very understandable. But what did you think of Terence showing up ringside? Do you think that helped build some buzz to make it a big fight?
No. I mean, he got to live up to his words. If he say he's not worried about me, then I don't know why he doing what he was doing here. I probably wouldn't go to none of his fights, so I'm not worried about Terence Crawford. Like I said, I'm going to enjoy my time with my kids and chill out and just reflect on this year and a half that, I came back and, we're going to move on in the summertime and see who I fight. So we'll see. I got to talk to my manager, Al Heyman, and we'll go from there.
Free smoke, Junior. They don't know what time it is.
T-Bug Crawford.
Yeah. Everybody know who the champ is at 147, who the king is. And he too small. He's too small. He little. He light in the ass.
Hey, look. Ain't nobody say Floyd was light in the ass.
He's light in the ass. He's not Floyd.
Hey, I told you I was going to pull up on Spence.
Hey, you was really already know.
Hey, look.
I love it.
Hey, look.
I love it.
I told him about what that word is.
Free smoke.
I told him about what that word is. This ain't no Keith Thurman shit. That's gonna be scared and shit.
Just wanted to ask you, since you already started talking about Errol Spence, I wanted to know your personal thoughts on how he talked about Terence Crawford in the post-fight conference when he said that he hopes Terence Crawford doesn't want to fight and he wouldn't go, and he doesn't understand why Terence Crawford went to his fight and he would never go to his. What do you think about that? Because me personally, I didn't like those words. I thought that was, I mean, it could have been taken out of context, whatever, but at the end of the day, I respect Errol Spence for a lot of things. I lost a little respect when he said that because all that Terence Crawford is trying to do is trying to make the fight happen. That brings promotion to the fight. And you are claiming you don't understand why he's doing that and you wouldn't do the same. Yet these are moves to make that fight bigger. So why wouldn't you want this? That's what I want to know. What do you think about that?
Right. Errol Spence stated, keep the same energy and don't show up to my fight because you said you don't need the fight. And I thought my ear deceived me, if I'm being honest with you, because I was expecting Errol to say the opposite. I was expecting Errol to say, keep the same energy. Say you want the fight. Don't say that, this don't make your career. Keep the same energy like I ran up on you and say you want the fight. That's why you're here today. If I'm being honest, I was expecting Errol Spence to say the opposite of what he stated. I think Errol Spence have to be mindful. You can't get carried during the moment because one day the fans, they with you and the next day they against you. I remember when Terence first moved up to the division, everybody was on his side. And then somewhere down the line, as soon as Keith Thurman and Porter lost and started calling him out, all of a sudden, everybody is on the Errol Spence side. So what I'm pretty much saying is just one day, the momentum could shift to the other side. So Errol Spence have to be careful of that. Now, I think he just said it during the moment. He just wanted to talk trash because Crawford said that essentially he don't need the Errol Spence fight, which I don't know why fighters keep saying things like that. At the end of the day, both Crawford and Errol Spence need each other. I said this a million times. This is the fight of the decade, and every fighter needs a dancing partner, and they both each other dancing partners. So, when Crawford said that, I know he's also not telling the truth because at the end of the day, Andre Ward came out and said that one fight that Crawford won't be able to live without facing this person is Errol Spence. If he retires today and doesn't face Errol Spence, he won't be able to live with himself. So, like I said, both people, they obviously playing games when it comes to verbal tactics. But at the end of the day, or at least the night, like you said, Crawford is there showing his face, building the fight. But I checked his Twitter, I think the day after, and Errol Spence said on Twitter that everybody will get their turn. He was talking about the Crawford fight. He said that everybody's going to get their turn. So what I took from that, Errol Spence is not 100% yet, like I said before. And that just co-signed everything I was telling everybody, that Errol Spence, right after the fight, he came out and said that he felt that he gassed out. Obviously, he was coming off a huge layoff and a car accident, so that came into play. So knowing the fact that he's not 100%, he's not looking to dive into a fight with Terence Crawford, who's pound for pound number one. So what he's looking to do is possibly fight another A-level fighter, make sure he 100% before fighting a Terence Crawford. Obviously, he can't say that to the public, so he obviously got to use verbal tactics to go at Crawford. You know, he sounded a little like Floyd when Floyd Mayweather was with Gervonta Tank Davis, and a media person asked Floyd Mayweather, what's next for Gervonta? Is it Devin Haney? Is it Teofimo Lopez? Who do you see next for Gervonta? And Floyd Mayweather, I think they were asking Gervonta, and Floyd Mayweather quickly grabbed the mic, and he was like, I don't understand why people and fans and media members, right after the fight, they so quick to asking what's next, right? And Errol pretty much gave the same answer during his press conference. But what they don't realize is the fact in the sport of boxing is not structured like the NBA, like the NFL. The NBA and the NFL, for example, the season is lined up. The fans already know. The fans already know beforehand what's next. So they don't got to ask, you know what I mean? But even in the UFC, pretty much they kind of know the rankings. So you could put 1 and 1 together, or 1 or 2 together, right? But in the sport of boxing, it's like a wild, wild west. You don't know what's next. There's so many different options out there. Now, it could be a good thing or a bad thing. A good thing for promotion because there's so much to talk about. However, a bad thing for the fighters because they obviously get annoyed at what's next. But that's what comes with the territory. Let me read the super chat real quick. Man, I appreciate the love and support, my brother. That's what we do on Split Decision, is tell the whole absolute truth when it comes to every subject. We don't sugarcoat it. We tell it raw. So that being said, what's your take on all of the above?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, this whole what's fighters next thing, like who's going to fight next, this has been going on for generations and generations. Mayweather says he doesn't understand, but at the same time, he was in that same position. So this could just be frustration because when they asked him who was he fighting next, it's not about who was he fighting next. It was about one fighter. And because of that one fighter that took years and years for it to delay, it just festered and festered. And they didn't want to know about any fighter in particular. They wanted to know about one. And the same thing happened to Tank, where they're like, when are you going to fight Teofimo? When are you going to fight Devin Haney? Because Mayweather's been in that position before. They know what they do. Because the media, they'll take anything that these fighters say and run with it and create agendas as in like, oh, Tank is unsure about who he wants next. He's scared. He's not ready for the lightweight division because he didn't answer the question. Like Mayweather knows this route because he was put in that same position when they were asking would he fight Pacquiao, and for years people assumed or thought that Mayweather was ducking Pacquiao. As for ESPN was the front runner of this, spreading lies to the media for years, telling people that, oh, Mayweather doesn't want to fight, Pacquiao doesn't want to fight. And yet, when you look at Mayweather and Pacquiao's resumes, these two only ever wanted to fight the best. But Mayweather's afraid of Pacquiao, the biggest fight in boxing. Mayweather's not just a fighter, but he's also a businessman. This is literally everything that Mayweather could ask for and more. The man, from what I heard, went to Pacquiao's hotel privately just to make sure that fight could happen in 2015. How does that sound like a man who's been ducking Pacquiao for 6 years?
As far as the Floyd Mayweather saga, when they were asking him about the Pacquiao fight, I could tell you this: Floyd did get annoyed because Floyd kept telling the public he won't take a drug test. He won't take a drug test. So I keep giving y'all the same answer. So if I answer the same question 100 times and they keep repeating the question, I'm going to get annoyed. You know what I'm saying? So I understand Floyd Mayweather's frustration at the things he went through with the Pacquiao situation because he did offer Pac-Man a 50-50 split, $50 million guarantee, and Pac-Man turned it down because he didn't want to take a drug test. And shockingly, the media kept telling Floyd Mayweather, why not fight him without a drug test? Even if he's supposedly on something, ain't you better? Like, that's how extreme it gotten with Floyd Mayweather. But I think with Gervonta, Floyd Mayweather as a promoter, he's a different character. I think he's obviously playing his role as a promoter. He got a plan for Gervonta. I think he want Ryan next, and after Ryan, Tio. But nevertheless, like I said, in the sport of boxing, there shouldn't be any frustration because the fans, they just don't know what's next. Got a super chat, Mr. Mechanical. I appreciate the love and support, my brother.
I mean, and just regarding Errol Spence, look, it's like I said before. Look, if you look at Errol Spence's, like the type of dude he is, and the way he's moving in terms of his fight, this man's not afraid of anybody. But you got to be careful with the words that you say. As a fighter, as a celebrity in the sport of boxing, you can't just say stuff like that and expect people not to notice. You can expect decaf not to notice, but the real boxing fans are gonna turn their head and be like, wait, what's he mean by that? And yeah, some people can just look at it as simple frustration from being asked the same question over and over again. But at the same time, it's just like you telling Terence Crawford to keep the same energy, when in that question, it doesn't look like you're keeping the same energy. So in a way, you're kind of contradicting yourself because you're telling man to do one thing while you're doing that thing. So that just put it didn't sound like the word of a champion. Not taking anything away from Errol Spence, but that could have been worded much better. And some fans might look at Errol Spence differently for that comment.
Yeah, well, before I get my response on that, Beyond Above Media, this might be one of the few channels that don't block people for the truth, dumb shit, respect. Like I said, we want the decafs to call in, so we ain't blocking nobody. We want you guys to call in. Appreciate it, Mr. Mechanical and D the Truth. Appreciate the love and support, and above all media. But when it comes to Errol Spence, I think he recognized Terence Crawford as his ultimate rival, his most dangerous opponent. So he want to save the best for last in the welterweight division so they could fight for all marvels. From the jump, it wasn't no secret to me. I saw it from the jump because Errol Spence came on and said that me and Terence Crawford, we are going to go in the ring and try to kill each other. So making a statement like that is huge. Errol Spence, he's not fooling with the fans. He's not lying to the fans. He's telling the fans the truth, which is Terence Crawford, he's a bad man. Even when he met him face to face, Errol Spence told Terence, yeah, I'm going to go get the easy money first, Porter. I'm going to get him out of the way, and I'm going to collect this money and this belt. Then I'm going to come holler at you at the end of the road. So I think that's still Errol Spence's game plan. He's looking to fight Manny Pacquiao, and then obviously Terence Crawford. I just looked at it as Errol Spence trash talking went wrong because he said the wrong thing. You know, he made the fans a promise. He said that he won't move out of the welterweight division until he faces Terence Crawford. So, you know, I'm definitely taking his word for it. And he co-signed that on Twitter a couple of days ago. He said that at the end of the day, everybody's going to get their turn. But because Terence is obviously the most dangerous, he's going to get his turn last. Plus, it ain't just because Terence is the most dangerous. It's also the fact that business come into play, and he is on the other side. So you're obviously going to make the fights in-house become the A side, which Errol Spence did, and then make the fight with Terence. And the way it's playing out, Terence is going to come to PBC. That's what it seems like, because the drama that's going on with Bob Arum and Terence Crawford, they only have a few months together. So it's obvious that Terence will fight Errol Spence eventually. It's not a matter if they're going to fight. It's just when they're going to fight. So I truly believe that Errol Spence, he just said the wrong thing while trash talking.
Free smoke, Junior. They don't know what time it is.
T-Bug Crawford.
Yeah. Everybody know who the champ is at 147 who the king is. And he's too small. He's too small. He little. He light in the ass.
Hey, look. Ain't nobody say Floyd was lighting in the ass.
He's light in the ass. You're not Floyd.
Hey, I told you I was going to pull up on Spence.
Hey, you was really already know.
Hey, look. I love it. Hey, look. I love it. I told him about what that word. I told him about what that word. This ain't no Keith Thurman shit. That's why we be scared and shit.